check with her.
Hi, Mira.
Hi, can you
Headphones.
can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. I just put in my headphones in.
All right. Yeah, go sorry.
I actually changed my computer. I'm doing the class today from the computer just to make sure. It seems to be, I've got all the buttons. I think that now I know how this thing works. It's just driving me crazy. But
it's a headache, isn't it? There's just a couple of things. I'll get Mum down, but just wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
Mum was confused. Today is 17, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. So today is 17.
Yes, because
then
she had 63 pounds because you know the class is 21, but online classes just to make it easy. I just make it 20.
Yeah.
But
so from next week, she can decide. She can either do 20 a week or she can do 77 for 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah. So she can decide from next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
This week is 17. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll hand you over to Mum.
No
also,
worries.
you know, your email goes to the junk mail all the time. So sometimes
why? I don't
know.
Okay.
Technology, we have to get used to all this stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, we're managing at the moment. So I'll hand you over. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mum. Okay.
Hi, Indira. You're right. Hello. How are you today?
Yeah.
You good?
Thank you.
Great. Did you manage? So you managed to see the videos then, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's actually helping you to do some second versions. And have you been working on it or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made that. I have done that.
There again. Whoa, that's beautiful, Indira. Really nice. That's a very, very, very nice one. And do you know what? Like just around the sunflowers inside, you have to go with a little bit more orange. Okay, just to make it more like, you know, the inside. But the work is really looking brilliant. And the fact that
on top of it. Shall
yeah,
I do it on top of
yeah.
And
definitely.
what about the coloring pencil? Do I have to?
Do you know the coloring pencils are phenomenal because we haven't tried those ones yet. And the good thing about them is like you can really, let me just show you one thing because I'm going to show you at the back of one of, I'll show you a little kind of piece of paper so you know how to carry on. But let me just grab them because I don't have them here, right here. I think I've got them. Okay, I've got my set. The nice thing as well is because we have the same one, so I can show you even which color you should go for. But if I do that demo really, really quickly, just for you to understand the principles, like you will go, you know how you have the base of the yellowy color? The good thing about these pencils is like there is two different oranges here, yeah? So when you do a line, like for example, if this is the size of your, you know, you have all your, you know, sunflower there, okay?
Yeah.
And you have to add up a little bit of the orange on top. What you do, you really go very, very light. I'm gonna just show you you just go very soft. Look, I'm not pressing hard at all. That's the camera, you see? Very, very, very light, yeah?
Yeah.
Not pressing at all, just on top to give it a little bit of the push. And then with my water, okay, I can go on top and just blend it nicely. Look how nice, because it gives you way more control, you see?
Yeah.
So when you're doing the shading inside, it gives you way more control if you apply with the actual watercolor pencil. And not only that, because you can just go around there, make it a little bit darker. The other way you could do is you use it like regular watercolor. You can go on a piece of paper, okay, put a little bit of the color, you can grab it, okay, and then just even touch it up from there. So you see, you have so many possibilities in terms of, you know, how you want to do it. See?
Yeah.
And it can go very, very intense as well. If like, you see, now it's just, this
is red and yellow.
This is the red one. Like the orange, you know, I can blend them nicely. So if you can actually do the orange, and look, I put the yellow on the top. I'm not pressing hard, okay?
Yeah.
This is what I just did, yes? You have the yellow and you have the orange. Well, look how nice. When you rinse it, you're going to start in first with the yellow, okay? and then just push it over the orange. See, the transition is just beautiful. You see? And you don't see any marks. So what you actually gaining with these sort of things, and we are going to use them to finish up we will start first the watercolor of the flowers with the watercolor set, and then finishing with the pencil. So you can get that sort of feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you actually did the drawing of this particular rose, like, you know, the kind of rose and falling over? Did you get that or not? Or you were just yes, that one. Yes. Can I actually see a little bit? You have to kind of close it and put it up a bit, up, just a bit up, so I can see it better. Beautiful. What a gorgeous drawing you did. I like that very much. Oh, very nice.
I just traced it.
I
couldn't do it.
My God, that's phenomenal.
I tried to do it, but it was quite difficult.
Do you see but if you see my drawing, it's very light, but you see my drawing how loose it is. So I just focus on the rose, and the rest is very it's very, very sort of free. Okay, you can see that there is a that kind of little, I think this plant is called angel eyes, aren't they? Are you good with flower names, Indira? You know this type of flowers, the one that have the little, I don't know if I'm getting it wrong. I'm probably getting it wrong. You know those white ones, the little white ones. Yeah. That little white ones here. Yeah. Those kind of these kind of flowers. Yeah. Yeah. Which are these ones here. I think those are called angel eyes, don't they? I don't know. I'm not sure if they are, but just in case. It's a bit like a tree thing, but this is our focal point, okay? So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you exactly what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna show you how to draw the rose, okay? Very loose. I'm gonna open it a little bit more from the inside out, so it's, you know, I'm gonna change it for you to make it easy, okay? And just then, yeah, and that kind of pinky color. And then you see where we have those very nice falling trees, the falling kind of flowers and the leaf. This is going to be our focal point. So all these we will add a little bit of detail with the pencil later on. The rest is going to look very loose because it's the background. So that's why it's going to really work. Okay. Yeah.
Just hold on, Pankaj.
Yeah.
Can you make it louder?
Let's see, 1 second.
Okay.
1 minute, Ruth. I'm just trying to make it a bit louder.
No problem.
That is full. I haven't changed it.
Maybe I can. Let me see if I can.
It was off.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Is that too loud? Let's see.
Yeah, I've got it full as well. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So what we're gonna do first of all, start with the pinky color. So you're gonna go for your sets. You know, the regular set. That's gonna be the pink. That color here. Yeah, that one there. Yeah. So we're gonna go with the pink, and there a lot of water. Okay, so we're gonna get a lot of water and just a little bit of that pinky color. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very little of the pinky color. There, and to that pinky color, you're gonna just drop a touch of yellow. So the color is a bit, I mean, it's pink, but it's mostly pink, but it has this sort of, how to call it? It's a bit more like peachy color. So I will show you the color on this piece of paper. So you're talking about this pinky color here. Yeah? Yeah. Very, very, very light. Okay? Yeah. So we have to do enough for the very first kind of, you know, approach. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to come back here. That flower has a lot of white. So I'm going to start in doing just a little bit of, I'm going to get it closer to you, okay? So I'm going to start in adding at the edge and off each petal like this. So I'm not even worried about where that goes. Look, you see? Very loose.
Very loose.
Just there. Very, very loose, yeah? You can see well, yeah, Indira, if I leave it there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have got a small flower.
Yeah, it's like,
not-
it is like you have a small flower.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can just, but it's similar shape than the one I have.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just the size is absolutely fine. Look, on my one is actually quite small. So, you know, up here is look at the sizes. That's way bigger. You see?
Yeah.
So it's actually,
Oh, that's why.
so it's actually nice to have it as well, a little bit small. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once we have done that, you see there is some more on the side. That one, which is practically white, which is little, and up there.
Yeah.
So again, we're gonna do this one as well. I'm gonna touch with a little bit of the pink at the top, just like this. You see? Again, in a very loose way.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of building up the color as we go along. And then just a little bit of the pinky color on there. So we're gonna do it there and there. So you see, it's a different way of doing watercolors. It's just kind of very loose. We just put the color first, kind of, you still see the line drawing underneath, so that's fine. We are not losing anything yet. And as far as we kind of get the definition to the things that we're gonna be adding right after, you'll see how the whole drawing is gonna be evolving, okay?
Yeah.
The whole idea is to keep the
They don't, all of them, they don't look like flowers.
they don't look like flowers now, but they will look.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust me, because it's just very loose at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's a bunch. It's like another way of, if I show you this one a little bit closer later on, they just blobs, but you can see they are flowers, aren't they? So
Yes, I do.
that's the thing. It's like, it's a completely different way of working. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start in going with the negative space for the blue. Oh, let's put the violet first, okay? As you see here, we have one pinky one, which is quite similar to that, but again into the violet, okay? So you're going to just get a bit of the same pinky, and this one here, we're going to do it pink, okay? So you're going to come on that side here, and I'm going to do a full pink one here, and then I will do the violets on top. So I'm doing same pink right at the bottom, you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then what we're going to do is going to be add to that pinky color that you have. You are going to add up a little bit of the cobalt blue. The cobalt blue is this color here, the brighter one. Okay. So the one underneath. Just a tiny, tiny little bit, and you're going to mix it with the pinky color. So you're going to get a violet color, but really light. Again, we don't want to go very dark. It's super light, and we're going to put it on that one here. Okay. So look at how it's very, you know, it's a bit of a difference that you can see there. So we're going to put it there, and we're going to put it here as well. Okay. Remember that with watercolor, we always, and we're going to touch this one here, this one, and this one. Okay. So we have the three, and so they're like 5 flowers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So you have
1, 2, 3, 4. Which one is 5?
So 1, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So those ones, they're all violet, but really light. You see, it's like I'm painting with practically nothing on my brush at the minute, because those will be the very, very light color. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So what
It's
we're
done.
going to do with the same, yeah, with the same color, because that same color, we're going to start in doing inside the rose. Okay. So look, whenever you put that in there, you're going to go for the middle part. So I'm going to do a couple of little dots first, and then just add up a few little dark areas kind of close to that pinky color. It's very hard to see it in there, but I'm just applying a bit of the color. And you have to understand that I'm working vertically, so everything it will be running in a minute, but I'm just adding a bit of that darker color in next to the lines that I did. So if I show you there, you see that already the drawing is sort of popping a bit more, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's the same violet color that we have used for the long flowers.
Yeah.
I should actually just learn the name of these flowers. I don't know how. I think they're lilac or something. See, Alison is so good. Like, she always knows all these plants and stuff. So every time I say, "Are we gonna?" It's like, yeah, that's lilac. That's because she does it as well, like in porcelain. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start to now adding the leaves. So we're gonna do a medium color green. So you're gonna go with the yellow. So we're gonna make it with the yellow. So you're gonna mix the yellow with the light green on your palette. Okay.
Like, yeah.
And you're actually gonna mix it on top of that color that you have as a base. So you know that violetly color that we did, you're gonna mix it with the yellow and the green. So the green that we will get is a kind of very light olive green that is a kind of nice one to add up. So light green, yellow, mix up on that sort of very loose.
That's the lemon yellow, huh?
Yeah, the lemon yellow, that's right. Okay, and the green on top of that thing. So I'm gonna show you exactly the color that we should get is this color here. I think that it works quite well of doing the little palette. So, yeah. So is this sort of very light, you see it's a light olive green, yeah? Very,
Yes.
very light, yeah?
Very light, okay.
Okay, so that color, we have to do the negative space. So I'm gonna go with that tiny little color and I'm gonna go in between, okay, some of my flowers. You see, I'm doing it here, all around my rose, all around this one here as well. But you see in parts, you see how you have some little flowers there? You do tiny little circles. I'm gonna show you this a bit closer so you can see, because I'm gonna leave some white showing. So could you see how I'm applying the color? I'm doing the negative space here, but could you see how light, I'm doing like little circles. So I do little circles there and then I fill up around it. So I'm leaving some of the negative space like that, okay? I might need to do it a little bit darker because I think it's quite light, isn't it? So I'm gonna do it a bit darker just for you to see it, because otherwise it's just gonna be, it's very hard for you to see. Look, I'm just gonna apply, you carry on with that color, okay? But I'm just gonna do it a fraction darker so you can just see how it's done, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is what it is. We're gonna be doing some little circles in some areas that you see here. I've got a lot of that kind of flowers. So I'm doing the circles and then I go with the green around it, okay? So whatever I found, this one is where I'm gonna start my grass a bit. So it's very important to change your line strokes when you need it. You see that? right?
Um,
Are you kind of following me, or it's a bit too difficult to
uh,
just to see? Look, I'm going
by
around
the way, yeah,
my flower. So I'm going
yes,
around my flower, but right here, because it's like a bunch of flowers that they are quite, you know, they're like wild flowers and they're like a bunch. A way that I can solve that problem where there's a lot of groups of flowers, okay, is just doing
yes,
tiny little circles or even shapes like that, you know, like
yes,
quite loose, and then just fill the thing around it. Now, all the bottom part is grass. So the way I'm going to apply the painting from this side down is just going to be doing those little stripy things. So I'm going to do it like this. You see?
oh,
So
yes,
it's like I'm going to apply the color, but I'm going to do it in stripes. Yeah?
yes, yeah,
So all those stripy lines, we have to kind of keep doing it. All that kind of, you know, very little stripy lines. We're going to do it all at the bottom. So I'm going to show you that part, which is the easiest one. Okay. So you're going to get that greeny color and just keep doing this up and down. Okay. You see how you can go next to that sort of flower there, but then carry on with the up and down flower. I'm going to just make it a little bit more deeper so you can just see. Yeah. See, it's very important that you do it bit bigger here, a little bit more kind of in parts there, but then stripes all the way down. Okay.
yes,
I'm just kind of doing it a little bit darker so you can really see this up and down, because that sort of grassy look, we need to kind of really show it through. Okay. I think I just covered one of the violets, but that's fine. I can get it back in. Okay. So I'm going to do this up and down. See how I'm doing it that way? Yeah. The whole bottom part, it has to be with long stripes. Yeah.
yes,
Okay. And we sort of carry on all the way up to here. But here, we're going to do all the lines on that side there. Towards the top, about halfway, those little stripes, we're going to make them shorter. So you will start in with very short lines here. Yeah, when I'm doing my lines in there. And come from you going down, you make them longer, you see? So you can actually have them very, very short at the top, like in between there, but then really long at the bottom. This is how you kind of apply the color. Could you see that? Yeah, so really short at the top and then very, very long at the bottom, okay? But the direction, it has to be same color. We're doing the base color, yeah?
yeah,
And I can show you how to do these. I'll show you with the two different sort of techniques, because there's some of them, we're gonna just do the longer here. And you see, I'm not covering around, I'm going around my violetly thing, but I'm just keeping this sort of loose. Yeah, like long. It's kind of nice to see that sort of treatment, because we are going to be doing some of the bigger leaves, and then is how you're going to do some of that. We can always add up with a painting. You can use acrylic, or there is another painting called Chinese white. That is when you want to get that luminosity back. This is what you can use. For example, you know, if you want to add up some of the details of these little flowers coming through, okay, just behind your roses, okay? So, okay, so what we're going to do at the top, we're going to be doing it in this way. We're going to, you know how you have the white area? We're going to go back again with that sort of color, but we're going to add up a little bit more turquoisey. So you're going to go for the other blue. So you're going to add, you know, the other blue.
Yeah, I haven't finished this first, okay?
Ah, okay. You, I'm just like, you see, I think that we are kind of in the same part, but you just have to tell me to slow down, because normally I get in the motorway and I'm going on speed, you see? So you can You can tell me once you finish, yeah?
Yeah.
I might actually ask because I think that it will be better.
Yes.
Are you watching me through your iPad or the computer?
I haven't, I have done that far only.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking because I think that maybe next time what I'm gonna ask you son, is to record what you're doing
Yes.
better than what, you know, I'm now watching you and it's great, but I think that it will be more practical for me to see what you're doing. And there is a way of doing it because it's just like how you make the camera, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that because if I see what you're doing, then I can advise you better. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that we will definitely try that next time. But yeah, so far you're doing well. And the thing as well, because we work in watercolors, and for this particular project, I don't mind because it's a kind of abstract, so it's a little bit more loose.
It is abstract, yeah.
But you know, the thing is, like, I'm working, you know, like vertically. So anything that I do, it just keep dripping down. So if you're doing it on your thing and you wanted to show me and it's actually flat, is even better for me to see, you know, when you're working on the flat surface, you know?
Yeah.
Which is very funny because you probably can see the image that I've got just next here, which is, I put it in there because I actually had a previous class that was interested in impressionism. And the way they used to paint all the flowers, all the plants is very similar to the way that we're actually using it today. And this is actually the work of Monet, that, you know, the French painter that kind of, you know, paint his garden and his water lilies like 250 times. So he was very good at it. And so I thought that, you know, it might be quite nice as a way of, you know, getting inspired and just see how these things are made, you know? Okay, so how's it going? Right, I can see that there is a, you know, when you apply the dark color inside the petals, I'm going to show you a very simple technique that you need to learn. Look, this is my petal of the rose, okay? You have another one here. We did the whole thing with the pink, and then we add up another color, right? So when you do the violet that you put in there, okay, you just put the violet and you let it there. Now, there is something that you need to do, which is what we call the fan edges. So what you're going to do, you're going to rinse your brush, yeah, dab it on a thing, and from top to bottom. So you're going to just go from this side here and touch the edge. So when you touch the edge, could you see how nicely it blends? Yeah. So I don't want to see any hard edges in there. Every time you put a color, okay? So imagine I'm going to put these I'm going to do really dark, okay? You normally don't use it that dark. This is how you leave it, but you don't want to do that. You want to rinse your brush, take it off again from just the top, okay? So this is still too wet. Hold on. Just from the top, I'm touching the border. Can you see? I'm just touching the border. I'm not going there. Could you see how it blends? Yeah, so you just have to make sure that touching the border is what is going to make the thing to blend in, okay? So
Yeah.
it's something that you have to kind of do very naturally. Like every time you put a color, then, you know, some parts is okay to leave it if there is not much contrast. But if there is a lot of contrast, because you see at the moment, there is not enough contrast between these two. But if I have to go with the more violetly color, let's say the one that you have put in there. So if I go for more the violet in there, I could just not leave that in because it's too harsh. So I
Yes.
will rinse it, clean my brush, and just blend it beautifully. So I lose that kind of, you know, edge in there, and even use my rubber, my brush as the rubber. So you can rinse it, remove the excess, and just touch up and keep cleaning until you get the color that you want. Okay, so there is like that kind of way of working out your drawing, okay, where you can be a little bit more gentle. Okay, so just keep this in mind, because you don't want to go too heavy. But when you're doing things like that, which is a little bit more abstract, I think that you can get away with it. Okay, so it's actually a bit more free in a way. Okay, right. Are you finished all the grassy bit now?
Yeah.
Over here? Yeah. Okay.
Is this okay? This.
Put it closer to, you have to kind of push it back a little bit so I can see the whole image. So far, that's good. I think that we've been very light with the pink. So I wouldn't mind the rose. Go back with a little bit. The pink is too light. Okay. So grab more of the pinky color. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And just add up. I'm going to do it as well so you can see it. Just a little bit more pinkish. Yeah. So again, you're going to just touch it up. Not much, but just enough for you to kind of see that 3D effect. Okay. So again, see, I'm not too worried about, oh gosh, there. So you see, it's just like you have the center, which is a little bit darker, and then you have some of the petals from the outside that you will have a bit less. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's going to be the leaves, it's going to be the stuff around this flower, what is going to make you really see that is actually a bunch of flowers in there. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll see. You haven't got much faith, like I don't know how it's going to look like, but trust me, is it kind of this sort of exercises where you do watercolor in a loose way. It's just nice to learn that kind of, you know, the technique.
Yeah.
How you mix the color, how you can come up step by step, you know, how we go very, very light, and then the colors are getting darker and darker, you see?
Yeah.
So we're gonna carry on putting the rest of the the green, sorry.
I finished this rose.
Yes. Oh, you finished that or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Yes?
No, I'm just doing it.
Okay.
Put the pink, more pink on it.
Okay. So you just like, whenever you see that you actually said, okay, ready to go, then we go ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to be doing a green, but the green, you're going to mix the yellow. So to that mix that you already have, you're going to add the darker blue, which is the top blue. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's going to make it look a little bit more deeper. And is this color here. So it's bluey kind of grayish. It's kind of very bluey green. Yeah.
Blue green.
Yeah. Okay. So you add up that blue into your mix, And that's the color we are going to be adding at the top. And now for the top, if you see, those are the little flowers that I wanted to show you, okay? So we're going to make them as clouds. So imagine the all white areas, they're like little clouds, yeah? So what I will do, and that you have to kind of do it sort of quickly, because we have to do a tiny, you see, I'm going to do it there. I do this sort of cloudy shape around it, you see? And again, rinse my brush really quickly, touch around it, okay? I will go with a bit more of that blue in it, but the reason why I do that is because I'm wetting the area around, and it's gonna be much easier for me to bring down now the color, you see? So I'm sort of going with the color, and again here, I'm gonna do it like stripy colors, like this, okay? So I have done the first cloudy shape, do you see? Because those are going to be the only ones that I'm going to leave white for the paper. So you can see that there is like 1, 2, 3, and 4, like little areas, right? So we're going to do one there. Maybe I'm going to do another one here, which is a bit smaller. You see, because I did put that bit that was wet, it's easy for me to go around and just loose up the edges. Yeah. So could you see how I'm doing these two little clouds, join them together, yeah? But I don't want to see any marks, so that's the reason why you have to make sure that once you do the cloudy shape, really quickly, you put the water around that. So when you add up the color, it blends nicely, yeah?
Blends nicely.
Okay.
But the shapes you are doing.
The shape is quite free. Look, it's a little one, you know, because it's this plant that looks like this. You probably have seen it. You know, those very, very nice ones that they're like that, you know, and then you have the little sort of cloudy shapes in there. You know, that kind of plant, that the flowers, that then you have all these little white flowers in there. Yeah. So we're going to do it in a way that we do the cloud shape first. Okay. And then we're going to do inside the green. So the white is what is going to get back in. So it's another way of working, okay?
No, yeah.
Right?
So, I know, but what I have got little dots.
Oh, you have little dots. Okay, so you have this sort of shape, didn't you? Let me just see, because you have it here, and it's a bit more free. This is what you have, yeah? So you have this kind of thing here. Is it not? Is it not that kind of big cloudy shape?
This is the rose.
That's the rose. That's the rose. That's another little flower that you have in there. So we have a violetly color here. Hold on. That's this way. Oh my God, I don't know which way it is. Hold on. No, it should be this way. So these white thing areas that I've got in here, I don't know why I've got that, because it's probably somewhere copied from this one here. So you see here and here, you can actually do it like I do. So if you have little dots, go around the circles, okay? So I'm assuming that you have like little dots like this, yeah? So you have like little dots. So go around it. Do you have some tiny, oh gosh, hold on. You have some, oh my God, come on. Everything is falling today, I don't know. So you have those tiny little circles, yeah? Because your drawing is so light, you can even do it on top. It probably won't show off when we.
Yeah, there is a little branch here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you fit a bit of those two in there or no?
And here on the top.
Yes, you can. We're going to be putting another two. So we're going to be doing 2 sets of 2 clouds. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we are going to do one there, and then you're going to do one here and another one next to it. And then you just do the thing around it. Yeah?
Mm.
Right? So it's like 2 clouds at the bottom, 2 clouds at the top. Yeah? So I think that will give like enough of the thing when we're doing the branches together, like the little, you know, washy line when we kind of put them. I must have taken that drawing from the, you know, from the version, this kind of version. you know what I might do now? It's just like while you are waiting in there, I'm going to sort of carry on telling you, you know, the step-by-step kind of thing, okay? Because then
Yeah.
I'll send you the recording. You can actually try to catch up, you know,
Yeah.
and then at least you can finish it up and you know exactly what to do after that, right?
Yeah.
Because we are doing this kind of with the greeny color, I mean the bluey gray. You're gonna kind of come on there and just, you know, fill up all the top bit is actually gonna be that bluey color, okay? So all at the background, but you see this time I'm using it like quite light, so very flat. I didn't do it this way. Here is actually quite flat, yeah? So could you see how I'm moving my brush? Yeah, just going in between those branches in there, for example, and just using my brush very flat, up and down. So I've got my roses on that side. I've got this sort of, you know, part here where I've got my 2 or 3 flowers on this side. And this is the kind of where I started with my grassy bit. So this is how I started with my colors to be a more like into a straight line. Yeah, like little straight lines. So I've got the grassy area and then I've got more of the feel at the back that you will have it a little bit more flat. Okay, so you can just leave tiny little bits of white in between, like I'm doing in between those tiny little shapes. So you can really create things that remind you like some of the little, how you call, like the branches. Yeah, so I'm leaving some of the white because it's quite nice to let it breathe, you know. So it's just very, very nice to leave some of the transparencies, and I'll show you how to do it after when we have the rigger. But I'm going to show you now. You see how we have some of the colors. I will send you the picture, okay? So you can actually have a color reference, but I'm going to show you how you can finish up and how you can build up the colors in, and, you know, do that kind of watercolor where you have a little bit more a freestyle. Okay, so again, I'm doing my base of the color with the very darker blue, so not the cobalt blue, but I do my darker blue with the light green. So the color I will have is just for those leaves at the bottom. Can you see that they're quite dark? Okay, these tiny little ones in there. So then I'm going to go for those ones. So I'm going to do 1 and 2, and then it has a 3. And these are the 3, and then 1 little one at the back, okay? So you see those ones here, I already put in those ones in, and you can really see the flowers popping because it's something that we can recognize. There are some sort of, you know, leaves in there. But then we have some that looks like a fan, 1, 2, 3, 4. So to that mix that we have, we're gonna the yellow. So the color is gonna be way more lemony, okay? And we're going to go very, very light, and we're going to do those 4 ones. So they're a little bit smaller. So we do 1, 2, and 3, and then the little one there, 4. Okay, so we have the 4 there, the big ones there, and then we have the violets all around it. Okay, and you see that there's like the pinky ones that they're a bit stronger. These 2 have the same color. Okay, and you have some kind of reddish rhythm crumb kind of color in there, which is a bit more reddish. So we can go for the reddish color, and you mix it with the pink. I'm sort of going a little bit faster, so you can, again, when you do watch this in the recording, you kind of stop me, do your thing, and carry on. So you can definitely, you know, finish up in your own time. Yeah. So we're going to be mixing some of the, doing this color is the pink, the red, and then you mix it again with a little bit of that greeny color that you always sort of mix it on top of each other to have a unified color. And these very dark colors are going to be all around here. So you're going to just apply it in tiny little dots like this. Okay, so all the area which is a little bit darker, I'm going to just do it a bit, you know, deeper in color. Now, again, I've got a really harsh edge. What do? Rinse my brush, touch the excess, and I'm just going to lose up some parts. I might leave some, but I'm going to just leave some as well. Okay, so it'll be nice just in terms of how to make the thing to really lose it. So you see how it gets unified and it gets, you know, part of the, it gets integrated in the picture in a nicer way, okay?
Yeah.
And the colors underneath, like you have all these yellow bits, which is like the very, very light color for the, you know, for the top. So this is the very first one that we need to do. Plain yellow, but it's going to be the Indian yellow. So we will go for the brighter yellow, and you just a dash of the little red. So it's just very little. So it's more orangey, okay? And that orangey color is going to go on top of that. So we're going to do some, you see all those tiny little dotty things. So I'm going to do my dotty bits in there. It kind of all come in there. I'm leaving some of the, you know, bluey color showing. And this thing just goes all the way down up to here, really close to your violetly sort of color in there, okay? So that's actually what we're doing. So it looks something like this, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's just a way of applying some of the tiny little colors. You can always touch up. Imagine if you go very heavy, don't worry, because there is this trick that is you can get a tiny, you can cheat a little bit. I'm giving you a little good pieces of that advice here, okay? That you cannot abuse, but it's just good to know, okay? Because you can get just a little bit of this color, either gesso or white, Chinese white or white acrylic, okay? And that white acrylic, you are gonna just sort of loose it up a bit with a tiny little bit of the yellow. Okay, so we have the same kind of, you know, yellowy color, just drop it with a tiny, tiny bit of that white. So that paint is a bit more opaque. And if you want to pick up some of the highlights, you just touch them. I'm going to just show you on a few, you know, a few that I do. And you can just really see how they really stand out. Okay, because when that dry, yeah, and I'm going to wait just to dry. If you go on top with the wash, yellow wash, that will pop, because it will be very, very yellow, because the transparency that the watercolor have is just the way that you have to really make sure that you put the very dark colors at the bottom, but you keep that sort of sense of, you know, depth in there. Okay, so if I go for the very deep violet, just to touch up, you see how some parts in there are really, really dark, so you can just drop some of that kind of color in there. So, and even the some of the lines as well. So you can just doing tiny little lines in there. It just shows you a little bit more of that kind of graphic way of, you know, how the plant look like. So I'm just sort of trying to do a bit of the zigzag line and just go around my flowers. So I've got some concentration in there. This is completely loose. It's kind of, you know, you don't see much going on in there, but it's when you actually put the colors and when you add up the details, like, you know, if you have that violetly color, but I wanted to show you how it looks like with the white plant, with the pinky plant. So right here, you will have just, you know how this plant go one way and the other way. So you just have this sort of shape, you see? So you can just do it all in big, long lamps like that. So doing that kind of thing, you can really see that they go, you know, is a way of working out how to add up that sort of, you know, kind of plant. But don't worry about, oh, it's just looking too loose, or it's just kind of, you know, not the type of thing that I would like to do. But that's the way of doing it, because, you know, when you bring your very pinky flowers on that side, and then you have this one here, for example, which is a little bit more violetly. So I'm going to go with the violet color in there, and I show you that this one here, you will have same thing, but you're going to have it in little. You see, I'm just doing it very dark towards the end in there. So I'm kind of doing more the sort of separation of those, how the flowers kind of go. But then towards the end, it's actually lighter. You see that is very, very light, and it's quite pinkish as well. So you get that color a little bit more. This one here, you see? I will send you this image. So you see at the bottom of that plant, it's actually really pinkish. Yeah, so it's not as violet. So then you're gonna go, instead of doing that, I just mix it with a little bit more of the pink and just change the color. So it will be a little bit more into the reddish color. Do you see? So, and of course it gets smaller and smaller. So could you see how I'm sorting the flower? See the flower?
Yeah.
So you have these very, very loose things on this side. You can just go and touch up the borders. Again, same thing. You can lose some parts. You want to leave some of the white showing. You don't want to cover everything in, okay? And for example, things in here that you don't know how to join it together, just do it in one blob. So you say, okay, my blob comes from here, and then I've got all my flowery bits around it. This one here is a bit more bluey. So whenever you find a color that is actually, you have to look at the colors here. That's violet, that's blue, that's actually quite blue and violet. So you're trying to grab the color as it is, and then you apply it in that kind of way where you have the tiny little, you know, going in and out, like this sort of, yeah, this kind of way of doing the tiny little flower bits in there. And as you can see, some parts here, like the ones at the back, if you want to lose the sort of, you know, the color more than anything, what you do, because this one you have some violetly blue and some pinky color. So the pinky color, again, you get more of the pink into it and make it all quite transparent. And then you're going to touch a little bit of it. So it's just really close to each little blue line. You do a bit of the pinky color mostly on that side there. Okay, so you can see that this part here, you see that now that flower is sort of starting looking more realistic. Yeah,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
part of the, you know, of the loose, you know, the quite transparent and quite free type of exercise. But for the background, for these ones here, which is part of the background, you will just do it bigger, like solid. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into the detail. I'm just going to do it more like a blob. Okay, so you go with the blob on top, and then wet and wet. You work wet and wet on this one. I think there was another one there that I covered up. I can put it back in. And then because it's wet and wet, is wet already, I just can drop the color. So what is going to happen, you get a very similar texture than the ones that you have with all the details, but way more loose, you see?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the kind of things that you really need to make sure. Just doing them those loose, those ones here are going to pop. And they're not only going to pop because you have, you know, more detail, is because we haven't put the rest of the green around it. But if I have to, you know, add up more of the green around it, let me just show you really quickly here. I'll go and do my thing around it again. So you see, I go around here, cut all this in, and I'm just sort of losing up, you see, with a darker one. I'm doing my little, you know, brassy thingy. And I already have rescued this part here, and I'm going to do now my other side. So again, I go really next to it and just cut around my little flower bit, and then just do the little grassy next to it. And that's kind of the way where you can actually do, and I'm even covering my dark ones in here. I'm still working wet and wet, but you see, just doing that, this flower here is just going backwards, and that one is coming to the front, because I'm sort of going around it as we speak here. Okay, so could you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's is a very interesting way of working. I'm just working with very transparent sort of layers and really looking in my picture and just trying to see what is the inside of, you know, this is my focal point, and that's what I need to keep, maybe with more details. But then, you know, you have things, for example, where we did the little flower bit. Remember that we did that one in? And what we could actually do for the white lines is like you get the pinky, the same color of the background, and you're going to do a few little dotty things. Okay, so we are kind of keeping the transparency of those white lines, but they look more like the white flowers that we want. And the only way that you're going to look that as a kind of, okay, that's some kind of flower bed, is when we add up the actual color for the little thing that attaches. So you can just go and do one of the branches that goes here, and then you can just do some of those lines in, okay? And again, as you have it as dots in there, I'm not that worried about, oh, it's just, you know, I don't think I get that kind of thing, that kind of look. You can go back with this trick that I told you about the white paint, and we can rescue it. And I think that that is the nice thing about it. Like you can just do these two lines going from the same sort of lines, because you will have some branches, you see, going to the top. So you kind of have them in there. So you can add up very soft branches on. And then if you really want to kind of make those little flowers to stand out, you just grab some of the white paint, okay? At the end, once you have the whole thing, you can just really touch up, okay? So you can just really do these tiny little dots on it, okay? And because it's a Chinese white or gesso, any kind of, you know, those kind of colors. And that's what is gonna really make it look more like the plants that you have, okay? So just attach it to your little branches, you see? Okay?
Yeah.
So it's just like a quite nice way of, you know, the finishing touches. But the thing that you really need to do is like work really nicely on all your, you know, all the kind of plants and flowers and different details, mostly these ones here, you know, all the little yellow bits as well at the back. That's the another one that I was just telling you about, the, you know, the tricky thing with the, you know, doing that very, very bright yellow, and maybe touch up some of these, you know, some of these tiny little yellow things coming up from the top. So it's the same principle where we can rescue some of that lines in. And the very, very end. So I'm going to just go with a very dark green. So practically, you know, very, very dark bluey green, mixing the very dark blue with some light green and yellow. So again, is into the very deepy color. And that very dark color, the way I'm going to make those flowers to pop is just doing the outline. So I'm going to go, you see what I'm doing? Just doing the outline of my rose, the little kind of flower that I've got in here. I've got another one there. So I'm doing it quite dark, yeah? Really important. Rinse it, and what we do, we lose the edge, yeah? So I've got it wet, now I'm pushing it up, okay? So you see how I'm pushing up that color, and that is what you're gonna really make sure that you get that darkish tone to make these flowers to really pop a little bit more than, you know, if you didn't have any. And now at the top, the good thing is like you can just do it a little bit more blue, sort of loose. I know it looks so easy, right? When you kind of see somebody like
it's a bluey green.
It's a bluey green, yeah. It's a very, very dark bluey green gray, but we always with a little bit of that red in. And you see, I just touch up some of my, you know, the borders in some of my roses. So you can see how only doing that kind of tiny little dark colors here and there, you can really see how the flowers are really popping. And that color here, you will have it as well here. You can really see where you have the darker color while you're doing the, you know, the sort of, the adding the kind of darkness of it. So it's just like how you kind of go in certain parts and just doing the mixture in there. So I'm gonna, very important, always do the same kind of thing where you rinse it, and look, if you want to do something like that, just push it with the same color. You see the same kind of darkish color, we're going to just do it in there. So we working now wet and wet, so we have that kind of transparency and the join of some of your flowers and plants and stuff. So all the darker area here, even if I change my brush to a really big one and trying to finish up, just adding bigger colors just to really, you know, get blended. So could you see how the whole image now is starting becoming more
Yeah.
sort of interesting, because the rose is popping up. We are working all the negative space, and we are working the details on the little flowers. So I haven't taken it away. That's my focal point, and that's what I will be just, you know, adding some of the colors and the, you know, all the other sort of details. When you're using a big brush, you know, you can actually use a quite big brush to do glazing. That the glazing is not other thing. Like, for example, if you want to top up some of that color, you go for the thick brush, and on top, I'm just going to go with a bit of a, you know, that's a blue color. You see, just putting the blue in there. Those plants actually are, you see, part of the rose now, because before we have the very, very white paper. So you need to kind of make it part of, you know, that sort of thing. So is the way where you can really, I mean, I'm not using watercolor paper, so all these tiny little dotty things that you see is just because the paper is too wet. I just couldn't find it. It was like, but I'm sure if you really look at the images and just trying to keep this sort of idea of every time you put the line, lose it, okay? Lose the edges. It's like touch up the border, trying to make it, you know, prepare the area around it, which is wet. Then you can play in the color. And when you work wet and wet, it's easy because, you know, beautiful things are starting to happen. The colors mix together and you're not much in control, which is okay, because then if you really want to work on the drawing, I really want to make that rose to go, we can always go with using different things. We will move into the very, very thin brush, and then maybe just starting kind of looking the thing individually. So I would say, okay, I will have a little bit of dark in there. You see, it's just not only pink, it has a bit of the darkish color. So I'm going to drop it here and here. But you see, from here, I'm moving to here. So that means that you really need to know when you have to change your brushes and how you can really, you know, work on different things. And that's pretty much what it is, okay? So I know that is a very fast kind of type of medium, because you have to be quite fluid, but it's kind of nice. But then there is another way where you really do a more detail. That I think is what we're going to go back. If we're going to do the next class, I would like to, you can say no, but this sort of project, I think they're quite useful when you do to use this brush that I think you do have it. You know, the fun brush. What is the fun brush?
Fun brush.
Fun brush.
No.
I think you have the same set. Don't you have this set where you have one of those? You don't have one of those?
I haven't got those, no.
Oh, you don't have those. Okay, because these kind of brushes are quite useful to do this kind of texture, you see?
Yeah.
Or when we're doing grass, or when we're doing things like that. If you want, I can actually check online. I'm sure this is not like, you know, I'll send you the link if you want to get it. Or if you prefer to draw any other flower that you like more, I think these are tassels. And they're just, you know, easy in terms of, you know, working with the watercolor pencils and this brush, and, you know, how to mix the background. And it's a little bit more focused. So I like to combine all this sort of ideas where you can do loose things, but you can do things that they're a little bit more detailed. So then you can tell me as well what you prefer to, you know, because for example, when I do things like that with Alison, she hates it, but she does it because she knows that she learns it. She learns a lot of things, but she likes more the detail. So she has found the more detailed kind of type of flowers. So if you tell me, look, I prefer that kind of thing, we just stick to the kind of, you know, focus on just pure drawings, which are like more realistic and, you know, not as loose as this. Okay. So you can just tell me if you want to go ahead, or if you find, you know, an image that you really like, or if you tell me, look, I want to learn how to do a particular flower, just tell me now so I can actually find it and I send it to you with the recording that I'm going to send you right away. So do you have any ideas? Or are you happy to do this one? Or are you happy to do anything else?
This one, today, I find it very, very difficult.
Hard.
very hard. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
hard. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's just like, because it's not control. So
Yeah.
I think when you have things in control, like, you know, that you,
Yeah.
it's pretty much like you do the
Yeah.
drawing and you fill it. It's
Yeah.
kind of easy. But I
Easy.
feel that I wanted to show you this, so
Yeah.
you know there's ways of,
This,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
but I understand it absolutely fine. I'm sure that I'm sure it's still that, you know, if you keep the looseness of it, if you are kind of just look at the image as blocks of colors with very little, I'm sure you're going to do a fantastic job, because you have a very lovely touch, like a really nice natural way of doing things. I'm sure it might not be your cup of tea, but I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. But then we are going to go back to just purely observational, you know, type of a project. So what I may do, I may just find a nicer, I think that, you know, one of the things that I really think that you might enjoy, you know, those windows with the plants, or the, you know, like an old door or something like that, that it has a lot of detail to it, that you might kind of even enjoy more doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Part of a landscape, but
Yeah.
it's quite observational. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be.
Perfect.
I think, yeah, this is more complicated for me.
I'm gonna. I think that.
I couldn't make out the flowers, you know.
Oh, I think that it's just because you still, it doesn't look, it needs work. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But that's the, you know, if I show you the picture here, you cannot see a thing on this one, you see? I mean, you cannot recognize one single thing in there, but can you not see a bunch of flowers?
Yeah.
You know?
I can see, but yeah.
But it'll be the same, Indira, trust me. You just have to work on it in that kind of way. So I'll show you the picture. I'm going to send you the original. I'm going to send you as well the recording, so you can crack on with it, still working on it. And I'll have a look next week. Yes. And then we're going to start a new project. And I think that we're going to do it either like a landscape with a, you know, door and a couple of plants, something that is just simple, observational, and, you know, that you can really trying to learn another little technique, like, for example, how to do the groove of the wood or things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well done though, that you actually went for it. I'm just like, it's like, it looks like you are my guinea pig in here, like, yeah, we're gonna do this. It's really, really hard one.
I'll try to make it, but you will laugh at it. You will laugh if I...
No, I won't. I definitely won't, because I can see things like, most of my students, like, I don't know what you see, but I can see that. I always get really excited to see. And for me, I'm always excited because you have a really lovely style. So that's what I really want to see, more of that coming through. But work on your sunflower as well, okay? So you have a long weekend. You know, with the inside, the orangey color. So have a look at the picture, and when you add the orange, do it with the pencils, and do not hot.
Shall I do on top of this one, or
yes. Yeah, you do it on top of that with the orange, very light, okay? And then you do it, because I really want you to get familiar with that with that material, okay? And then we're going to start in combining both in the class. So I think that'll be good. All right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think what I think, the flowers should be slightly bigger than this.
Yeah, they should. Well, that's why you can even get that and make it bigger, because normally when you tend to kind of draw it small, it's just a matter of confidence. So this is like the thing. I need you to get bigger. So, you know, even if when you start doing the line drawing, always look. And I like to send you the, you know, the kind of little line drawing, because you can compare sizes. And normally it's in an A4 size that you work. So it's actually fine for you to kind of, you know, figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about this green? Is it
the green is actually is fine, but we need to find some of the blue. I will do, you know, when I show you about
I use this one.
Yeah. Which is that's right. But you know, if you see the photograph, that leaf is really nice. If you see the photograph, the closest parts around the flowers are very dark, because the flower projects a shadow on the leaves. So I really want you to look twice the image I sent you, and you have to paint once. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no other way. Okay. You really need to look and say, what you can do is just add some, parts on blue. So
Yeah.
instead of doing a darker green, you overlap with the primary color. So if you go with the blue, as you see on the image I show you, you see how we went with the blue on top of that. It was just pure blue, remember? And look, it's just a way of doing some of the colors.
You didn't make.
I didn't do the green. I went just with pure blue on
Pure
top.
blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's why, that's what it is. It's like we're using just glazing. It's like a plain color, primary color that you go on top. So if that, leaf was like lemon green and you put the wash on top with the blue, it'll become darker. Okay. So it'll become like darker blue because instead of touching it with one flower, you're doing it everywhere. So you could actually do a bit of that with the sunflower.
with the bees.
As well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have a look at the next week, but I'm going to send you that now so you can carry on drawing and painting.
Drawing. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll send you the I actually am going to send you a couple of them so you can choose. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
so you take care then. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, Indira. I see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.